Action.
Hi guys, this is Chet here from Avion Technology. Today I'm going to talk to you about, oh by the way, we are a digital agency based out of the northwest suburbs of Chicago. What do we do? So we actually work with a lot of other digital agencies and help them scale up. So a lot of our clients are small digital agencies. I usually do these small videos every day. So none of what I'm saying is financial or legal advice, but this is just a conversation. So if you find this interesting, send us, this is my number and this is my email. Send me an email. We could always talk more. So this is just a conversation. Today I'm going to talk about what I call the never-ending project. So this is usually a kind of a project that we see in a lot of small agencies or even bigger agencies. They're usually fixed bid projects, so we have won the project for a fixed bid. And in a lot of the projects that I have done, the projects which were successful always had reasonable people on both sides of the table. So I think, in my opinion, if you ask me, the number one criterion for project success is actually reasonableness. A lot of projects actually go haywire when the person on the other side is not reasonable and the person on the other side kind of has unrealistic expectations. So today I'm going to talk about a very typical scenario that you see. You've taken on a client for a fixed bid, and one of these three things happen. One is that the client is too nitpicking. Now, a certain amount of perfection is okay, it's kind of expected. But sometimes you have clients who will tell you what font to use, how many pixels. So they actually almost scrutinize the project on a pixel by pixel basis. What that does, it slows down the whole process. And I'm sure you, as a agency owner or a designer, you've accounted for a certain number of hours in the analysis phase, in the UI UX phase, or even in the programming or testing phase, if you're following a standard waterfall model, which is usually what is followed for a lot of fixed bid projects. But when the client is more nitpicking, more kind of unreasonably nitpicking, the whole project slows down. The second is actually when the client goes absent. This is a lot of times I've seen this scenario pan out when the project is not a priority for the client. So suddenly the client will go absent. He goes on a vacation, or he gets inundated with something else in his main line of work. I've had clients tell me that the project is not a priority for them and that they will not be replying for 2 months. The third is when terms get changed unilaterally. So usually for fixed bid projects, everyone follows like a milestone based approach. So you get a little payment in advance and a little payment at the end of the design phase and a little payment at the end. So like a milestone based approach. What does happen sometimes is that the client will unilaterally withhold like a milestone payment and say that I'm frustrated with everything and I'm going to pay the whole thing only after I'm happy. That's usually the scenario that I'm scared of the most, because when I am happy is such an ambiguous term. So there's really no there's really no guardrails that you can put for something like that. But the second is that your cash flows then get strained, because now suddenly you were expecting payment on a certain date and you're not going to get that anymore. So we have families to feed, we have employees who have families to feed, and we have bills to pay, and we have rent payments to make. So all of these milestones are milestones that we have scheduled. We have kind of scheduled because we need those payments to make our own payments, right? So our own cash flows depend on this. What a typical agency will do during that time is they'll end up taking another project, like a second project, because you have a developer or you have a designer whose salary you need to make, or if it's you who's doing it, you have your own bills to pay. So usually you'll take on a second project just to cover those bills. And so what will end up happening is that you will have now two projects. The first project, which is incomplete, and the second project, which is also incomplete. So instead of having one frustrated client, you'll have two frustrated clients. Also, what I've seen happen a lot of times during this scenario, there's a saying in English, throwing good money after bad. So there's also, we usually tend to pay attention to the clients who shout the loudest. And they are usually not the best clients, right? Your client who gives you the most amount of work and the most amount of money is usually a very reasonable client. It's usually the client who creates the most amount of problems for you who will shout the loudest. And unfortunately, we therefore end up spending way more time on this client. So overall, it is not a healthy scenario for your business. It's going to keep you distracted from your good clients, and it's also going to get you into cash flow situations. So what is the solution for this? The solution is to set the expectations with the client during the project onboarding phase. The project onboarding is when you tell the client, you set the expectations, you set the rules, right? You set the rules of engagement. To give the benefit of the doubt to the client, most of them are newbies to technology, so they have no idea how all of this operates, right? So it is your responsibility to tell them how your industry operates, or how you operate, how you're expecting, the approvals for the milestones, how you're expecting like a 2-day turnaround for all your designs, how the client should have the domain name and the server ready before deployment. So you're the one who has to tell all of this, right? Most importantly, I think it's your job as an agency owner or as a project manager to tell the client that that he should be reasonable as far as his reasonable in terms of the granularity of his review, right? So you don't want someone who's going to just slow everything down because he's looking at every pixel. As they say, great is the enemy of good. You try to be perfect and try to be great, we usually end up not doing anything. So number one is make sure the client is not very nitpicking. Second, please tell the client that this is your bread and butter. So you need to get paid. They should not be absent. And lastly, make sure they don't change the terms of engagement unilaterally. Do things like withholding your final payment, or withholding 2-3 payments, because that's definitely going to not have good outcomes. So I hope this helps. If you have any typical project management issues you want to share with me, send me an email. If you have, this is my number, this is my email. Send us a shout. I'll be more than happy to discuss this with you. Thank you so much. Chet here from Avion Technology. Thanks, and have a great day.